We will now bring you select stories that made it to the front page of select national newspapers this morning. And as always been a tradition, we will begin this morning with the Daily Trust. And the Daily Trust is leading with stories from the PDP NEC meeting, which is built to hold today. Governors Atiku, Wike test strength as PDP NEC meeting holds today. IU withdraws suit against party. National Working Committee passes votes of confidence on Damagun, and the North Central insists on completing IU's term. Interesting developments there as far as what is supposed to be the biggest opposition party is concerned. I'm not sure whether they're living up to that bidding or they're dropping further down the line. Local government chairman, councillors decry removal plot as Kaduna Assembly trims tenure. And BDC now buying dollars at 980, according to APCON. President, here they are selling at 1,020 naira. That is way below the official rates. And AFCC siege, again, Ododo. Smuggles Yaya Bello out amid gunshot. Smuggles. Feels like an item. I can't remember the last time anybody smuggled out a lion. Is it a lion or a tiger? A lion. You're not from Kogi State, you probably won't help me. I think it's a lion, a white one for that matter. You would think that it would be difficult to take that kind of exotic cat, out, without consequence. And to other stories, bandits adopt dozens of villagers in Kaduna community. We are back again to the same story. And custom officers lynched in Katsina for shooting passenger.
They keep doing it.
They just keep doing this.
They keep doing it.
And uncertainty over Ondo APC primary as Court of Fame's Ganduje's suspension. As two court issues conflicting order on his arrest. We are back to messing up with the courts. Courts of concurrent jurisdiction giving different positions on an issue.
Yeah, but one is a federal high court, the other is a state high court.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah,
okay.
End of story, I think. Let's take a look at The Guardian. Poor funding model, Paucity stole $3.2 billion Eastern Rail project 3 years after. We always have these grandiose ideas about, what we need to do, but we always don't, cut our coat according to our cloth. And this is one of the other projects that we, are unable to fund. But in other news, court affirms Ganduje sack, APC kicks. All eyes on PDP governors as IU's lawsuit withdrawal alters balance for Damagun. Why Nigeria's foreign reserves dipped by Cardoso. You can read more on the Apex Bank governor's thoughts at that IMF event yesterday. The federal government kicks as Kano lists conditions for resumption of trial. Afenifere leaders visit Tinubu, demand restructuring, security, and Southwest development. OPSN warns 200% electricity tariff may cripple 65% of businesses. Yeah, well, there you have it on the pages of the Guardian newspaper for today.
All right, we'll move on to the Punch newspaper for this morning. And the major story there is El Rufai marketers' fuel subsidy claim wrong. FG and NPC. I'm not sure who is wrong because we got reports claiming the special advisor to the president admitting that the government can come in with this at every time. Maybe they may differ on the exact amount, but suffice it to say that the claim around subsidy payment is actually real, and there is no denying that part. Well, this is not me responding to the NNPC. One is just putting those response in context. Bring evidence of subsidy payment. Lekobiri tells El-Rufai marketers, and NNPC insists it is recovering full cost. Marketers paid petrol at 900 naira per litre. All right, to other stories. Policeman, Kogi governor, for EFCC attempt to arrest Yaya Bello. Anti-graft agency condemns obstruction of arrest. Can we get to the point where these policemen who obstruct this kind of incident can themselves also be considered as obstructing justice?
Yeah.
Does that exempt them because
they consider themselves Oga's boys? So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cardoso links depleting reserves to debt repayment. CBN stops banks from lending 50% of deposits. And to other stories there. Heavy punishment awaits persons threatening Nigeria's unity. That's coming from the president. FG to execute 3.8 billion gas supply agreements in May. And 29 Yoruba Nation agitators reminded Oyo demolishes base. And APC drags Kanu justice before NJC over Ganduje's suspension. These are the stories that we have for you this morning. We now have joining us in
back to duty, back to base.
After disappearing. I'm sure most of you were asking questions about his absence last week. And we told you he will be here in flesh and blood to probably explain where he disappeared to. And if there are Araba to come with it, he would...
You're making it sound like a trial.
Well, this is me washing myself off that disappearance that happened, even though I have prior knowledge that they were going to happen, and you know why. He's also got right to enjoy the extended public holidays declared by the federal government. But that is not all of the explanation, but I've just given you a snippet. The editor-in-chief, Dateline newspaper, Marlon Nasrullah, it's a pleasure to have you join us.
Good morning, Marlon Nasr.
Kaduna has been refreshing, if you ask me. Maybe not as hot as Abuja and other parts of the country.
Everybody deserves a break once in a while.
I mean, on that note, I completely agree with you. It's a pleasure to have you join us once again. And you are returning when political activities seem to be, gaining full traction, where, both political parties seem to be engrossed in one kind of controversy or the other. The PDP and its NEC meeting today, and we know the composition of those NECs and the issues, the barrage of issues that are waiting. Let us start with that. What's your thought around some of the early banters that we have seen from those who would appear to be major how would I call it now? Who would appear to be the newsmakers after today's event?
Well, that's basically for the media to have. All the television cameras were there, and they know that this is something that is going to appear on television, on the newspapers, and what have you. So that explains the camaraderie that they showed there. But honestly, I think it's high time for the PDP, especially as the major or the leading opposition party in the country, to get its house in order, because if it fails to do that, then we can as well forget about anything opposition, ahead of the 2027 election. I know so many people will say 2027 is still a long way to happen.
Here's the part that interests me the most. Look at him, right there in the corner, the man of the hour himself. Made an appearance, and he's seated right, and I think I wouldn't want to be in former Vice President Namadi's position, sitting between these two. I mean, they're not going to fight physically or anything, but what does this represent? Is this PDP on the mend, or is this, the calm before the next storm?
Well, maybe in the next 24 hours, that will be clear. But certainly, even from the video we are seeing, the FCT minister and the former vice president, it's clear that they have, they want to take a go at each other. So if the party allows them, possibly we may see who is likely to take over the control of the party, because so many people have also been calling for, the sanctioning of the FCT minister, because this is a member of the opposition party now working with the ruling party. Actually, he helped them to win the election. And right now, we have not seen anything, either punitive measures, coming from the party. So,
does this betray his loyalty to the PDP, what he has been up to over the past 1.5 years or so since the build-up to the elections, after the PDP primaries. Because, I mean, we've seen, you know, your Christian cinemas in the United States, your Marjorie Green Taylor, they can go against the party line, but they don't cross over to supporting the other side to get into power.
Yeah.
However, what we've seen with the G5 governors, that FCT Minister Wike, you know, helped organize, was that they undermined the victory of the PDP, and now he's serving in the APC, government. But him appearing at this particular caucus meeting, for instance, what does that say about the principles of the PDP itself as a party? I mean, do you think they've, you know, essentially lost it as a political party?
Well, you know, he's still a member of the PDP. He has not resigned, and the party has not sacked him. So I will expect him to be at, you know, PDP gatherings and what have you. But like you said, honestly, so many people expected that the party will take action with regards to what he did. But his arguments has always been that, look, so many people abandoned this party at a point. You know, I was like the one that, you know, stayed behind, you know, to make sure that the party did not, you know, disappear. So because of that, he thinks he has like the right of first refusal actually when it comes to the PDP. But if you allow things like this to continue, then having control of the party, you know, in the long run, honestly, it's going to prove very difficult, because you cannot have one set of laws for an individual and then another set of laws for another.
All right, let us flip over, you know, to the ruling party. They have their own fair share, you know, of crisis. It appears to be a battle for the soul of the chairman of the party. So some arm of it, you know, happening largely in Kano. We have seen this before, isn't it? You know, the scripts, you know, appear. The plots may look different, but it appears the scripts are always the same. Get these people out from their primary base, and every other thing would follow. What do you make of the forth and back with regards to this contradictory court summons and what's happening in Kano?
Maybe what happened in Ondo, that's the Ondo APC primary that is now about to... Because if you allow Ganduje to do that, now that there is a court ruling, you know, even affirming his suspension, some may say that whatever he will do, you know, in that capacity, it's illegitimate and things like that. But then the people around Ganduje are also accusing the Kano state government, you know, of engineering the suspension and then what is happening right now before a court in the state. Because like you said earlier, this is a state court, and you know, somehow you cannot like clearly,
the influence is there.
The influence of the governor is always there. Sometimes the governor may not even say this is what I want, but because you want to be in his good books,
the body language,
you know, so sometimes you do that. But honestly, I don't think the APC should allow Ganduje. If Ganduje should face trial, I think nothing should stop that. You know, nobody is above the Nigerian constitution. If truly there is, you know, reason for him to appear before a court, they should do that. They shouldn't like use technicalities to keep him in office simply because they think he's doing exactly what the president wants him to do or things like that. But like I said, I don't think the suspension is what we should be looking at the moment. What we should be talking about is the future of the APC, because right now so many people are already, you know, like declaring interest in also if the seat becomes
something tells me from the history of, you know, politics in Nigeria, it's only a matter of time that something significant happens with that particular position. But in talking about yet another, because it's been a very eventful midweek for us in the media. Yaya Bello versus EFCC took yet another dramatic turn. So
would it be Yaya Bello versus EFCC or Yaya Bello / Ododo?
Yeah, well, I think Ododo is still part of Yaya Bello, but you know, the dramatic, you know, event. could have gone worse.
Yeah.
The FCC put out a very stern statement about how it will not tolerate further disruptions to its operations, which is tantamount to disruption of, a legitimate, operation. Give me your take on this one, because it looks embarrassing on face value itself that this is actually happening.
Certainly it is embarrassing, and I think the current governor of Kogi State should learn from his predecessor. He may not be this lucky. Somebody from another party maybe would want to succeed him, and then there will be nobody.
He will not get this cover.
He will not get this cover. So rather than just obstruct, the wheels of justice, I think it's better for him to come out clearly to say that, okay, this thing should be done professionally. It should be handled without like all the things that they fear, because right now they think the EFCC has already concluded its, what they want to do against former governor.
But I mean, the EFCC would not take him to jail straight. He still has to stand
He has to go to trial.
So the other part for me is we always see these things, and this is not the first time a sitting governor will come in with. Is it that the EFCC had not anticipated it? What's the role of the IG of police? Because the coverings that the governor came with were provided by the IG of police.
I mean, these are police officers, GSS operatives.
Not have, called those the commissioner attached to the governor to order with regards to this kind of acts?
Probably there was no communication between EFCC and the police hierarchy, because if you are going to embark on something like this, I think it's only logical, for you to reach out to the DSS, to probably even the military, all those that have a role to play in this security, in the security architecture, to tell them that this is what we intend to do, so that by the time you come, there will be no like any obstruction like they are now complaining about. But probably they think, they have armed personnel, they will be able to accomplish this without the input of other security agents, and that's probably explains why we ended up with this very embarrassing situation. But going forward, I think Yahaya Bello, like I saw a senior advocate of Nigeria saying, Falana, he cannot run away from justice. The EFCC has that legitimate right to try him. Like you said, they are not going to take him to the jail straight. They will have to present their cases before a competent court of law, and then the courts will now look at the merit of the case. So many people have appeared before the courts, and they are now free. So honestly, I don't know what the former governor is trying to hide, like Nigerians will say.
I was just telling Sunday earlier that in the United States, America that we love to draw comparisons with, Trump is dealing with so many cases in the courts, and you see him always presenting himself before the court to clear his name, and there's nothing wrong with that as long as it goes through the normal procedure. If there's no skeletons, as we like to say, in your cupboard, you shouldn't be afraid of an investigation that goes through the court for hearing. And
there's a white lion to top it off. That's the part that I don't understand.
Okay. I think it's just a metaphor, not a literal lion. But anyway, point taken. Nasser, as much as we love to go on, I think we're out of time, as Wes would like to constantly remind us over the headsets. So we're going to have to leave it here for now. Thank you very much. It's good to have you back, and we're happy with the analysis as always. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, it's been a wonderful show this morning. Somebody reminds me that the white lion position is also being contested by Odumeje. So I don't know who lays the original claim to it, but we'll leave that for another day. I'm Sunday Michael Ogu. Let's do this again tomorrow.
There's always one at the international level. I think Odumeje is now at the international level. Thank you most kindly for joining us. As always, we do appreciate your time and company. Let's do this again. Daybreak returns tomorrow live at 8 a.m. Until then, my name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Good morning.